Hi guys, so here we go um, on some tutorial help for the Getting Ready 1.7. I'm going to start out with the question of the day, and the question of the day reads, what is the difference between solving for an equation and an inequality? An example of each is an equation has an equal sign, 3x minus 5 equals 10, and inequality would be negative 2x plus 8 is greater than 12. So I don't want to know what the difference between an equation and an inequality is. Obviously, one has an equal sign and one has an inequality sign. What I want to know is what's the difference in solving for the two. Is there a difference? And if there is a difference, what is that difference? What makes solving the two different? Okay? That's what you're supposed to answer for that question. So here we go on to the next slide here. So we want to solve for the indicated variable. So it says e equals the square root of a squared minus b squared divided by a. And I want to solve for b. So I want to get b alone. So if I rewrite my equation, e equals the square root of a squared minus b squared divided by a. I want to get b by itself. So let me just do this real quick. I'm going to change b to a different color, b squared, so we know that that's what we're looking for, okay? So I want to get that by itself. So I have a fraction, so what I want to do first is get rid of my fraction by multiplying by the denominator, and I'm going to do that on both sides. So then I get a times e equals the square root of a squared minus b squared. It's my a on my bottom and my a on my top over here, make a 1. So I don't need to divide by 1. Now how do I undo a square root? Well, I square it. I'm going to square this side. If I square one side, I have to square the other side. So I have ae squared equals a squared minus, minus b squared. Okay? Want to get b by itself, so I'm going to subtract a squared. Subtract a squared. So then I get a squared, e squared. If I multiply out up here, minus a squared equals minus b squared. Okay? Now b squared is still, I want to solve for b, not b squared. So I need to divide by negative 1. And then I'm going to get a squared. These are just going to change. So I'm going to get a squared minus a squared e squared equals, sorry, keep forgetting to change my colors, b squared. How do you undo a square? Well, I square root it. If I square root one side, I have to square root the other side. And I'm going to get b equals the square root of a squared minus a squared e squared. Okay? I could probably simplify this a little bit more on this side. And I don't think that I will. I'll just leave it right here, but I can simplify that a little bit further. But we're just going to leave that as is right now. Okay? So that's that for that one. If you got that far, great. So here we go on this one. This one says v equals pi r squared h, and I just want to solve for h. This one's much easier, okay, than the second one. So I want to solve for h. So let's say v equals pi r squared h. Okay, I want to get the h by itself. This is just times. Pi times r squared times h. Well, how do I undo times? I divide. It's going to divide by pi r squared on both sides. And pi r squared, and pi, that makes a 1, and that makes a 1. So I'm going to get h equals volume over pi r squared. Okay? Great. So you have a couple of those to do on your work. I know that we kind of talked about it in class. There you go. The last bit that you'll have to do is this. And it says solve the linear equations and both pairs of simultaneous linear equations, simple with a graph only, by graphing both lines and finding where they intersect. Justify the solution numerically. So I have to do all of that. No matter what it says, I have to do all of it. So my first equation, I'm going to number these 1 and 2. 1, and let me change the color on number 2. So if I do number 1, and then I do number 2, we can talk about them separately. So number 1 says y equals negative 5x plus 4. So I'm in slope-intercept form, so I need to know what my slope is, the graph, and my y-intercept. So what's my slope? Negative 5 over 1. If I have a whole number, how do I turn it into a fraction? I put it over 1. What's my y-intercept? 4. So let's go over here and make our points. So my y-intercept is negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, my y-intercept is 4. See, I'm not perfect. 4. There we go. Whew. Slope is negative 5 over 1, so I'm going to go down pi. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and forward 1. Make a point, and then I need to make a line. And because I want to find out where these lines intersect, I want my lines to be fairly straight. So I want to either use a ruler or, in my case, I'm just going to use the smartboard because I don't really draw very straight lines. And as you can see, my lines through there wasn't very straight either. There we go. So I want to know exactly where they intersect. I don't want to guess on this, okay? So now I'm going to go to my second equation, which says y equals 2x minus 3. And I'm going to do the same thing. I want to find my slope and my y-intercept. My slope is 2 over 1, and my y-intercept is negative 3. So I'm going to start at negative 3 on my y-axis, and this time I'm going to go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, and I can continue to go up. I know that I've seen on your homework that you guys have just been connecting the 2 points. You need to actually draw a line because unlike on this one, they don't always connect. They don't always connect right on one of the points that you are actually my y-intercept or where my slopes intersect, okay? So you need to make sure that you're drawing an extended line across the whole thing. So my point of intersection is right here, and that point is 1, negative 1. Okay? How far did I go over? How far did I go down? I went over 1, down 1. Hence 1, negative 1. Okay? So the last thing it says is justify the solution numerically. That means I need to take my x and my y and plug it back into both equations. So for number 1, my y is negative 1, has to equal negative 5 times x, which is 1, plus 4. So negative 5 times 1 is 5, plus 4 is negative 1. And yes, that equals negative 1. If for some reason that didn't work, that means you got a point that didn't intersect correctly. And I need to do that for both equations. I cannot just do it for one. So y again is negative 1, and that equals 2 times 1 minus 3. 2 times 1 is 2 minus 3. Negative 1 equals negative 1. Perfect. So my solution is negative 1. Oops, sorry. My solution is 1, negative 1. 1 comma negative 1. This is not slope. I do not write slope this way. Slope is written as a fraction, okay? I saw some of you writing slope this way. That is not correct, okay? So that's my answer. That's a point. Have one or more of these to go. And here we go. I'm going to do the same thing. Number one equation says y equals -1/2 x plus 4. So my slope is going to equal -1/2, and my y-intercept equals 4. So I'm going to go to 4, and then I go down 1, forward 2. Down 1, forward 2. Okay? Draw your line. Awesome. Okay? Then I'm going to do the second one. Number 2. And number 2 says y equals 3/2 x minus 4. So my slope equals 3/2, and my y-intercept equals -4. So I'm going to go down to -4, and then I'm going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, over 2. 1, 2, 3, over 2. And I'm going to draw a line again. Okay, there we go. And my answer is, where my two lines intersect, 1, 2, 3, from 0, I go over 4, and up 2. So my answer should be 4, 2. I do need to check that, however, so in we go. So y is 2, and that has to equal -1/2 times x, which is 4 plus 4. -1/2 of 4 would equal -2 plus 4 equals 2. So 2 does equal 2. Check one more time. Y equals 2 again. 3/2 times 4 minus 4. So 3/2, 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 4 2 times. 3 times 2 is 6, minus 4 is 2. So 2 equals 2. So there we go. Okay? One more time, I'm going to show you the question of the day. What is the difference between solving an equation and an inequality? So remember that I'm looking for what's the difference between solving for them, not what's the difference between an equation and an inequality. Okay? Great. Thank you. You guys have a great night, and I will see you in class tomorrow.